With Dawn of the Hunt, the way how we play Path of Exile is going to change. Let me take you through the new ways to play, from character creation, through a different Act 1, 2, 3, and then all the way into the new and enhanced updated endgame and all the changes coming with it. First, character creation. You have two choices. Either you're going to make a new character in your normal league where you're already playing, with all your resources, all the stuff you have in your lockers, the hundreds of new support gems. Yes, we're getting 100 new support gems to boost whatever's going on. This plus 100. You can do this with your existing characters, or you create a character in a new league, then there will be a new league banner coming as a standard solo self-hunt, for example, standard hardcore, whatever, and you'll have nothing. Your stash will be empty, your gold will be gone, the economy will be reset because no one has anything, but you don't have to do that. It's a choice. The biggest change for leveling is probably the 100 new support gems. You simply can play different now. For all the abilities that we have been already playing, you just get new stuff. And you can play, obviously, the Hunters. On top, there's 100 new unique items coming, but they're more mid to end game. So it'll probably be Act 1, 2, 3 cruel into endgame, where you can actually get the Thor hammer to make a warrior Thor build that's hitting with lightning spells. That's not really changing the way how you play Act 1, 2, 3, Act 1, 2, 3 cruel. What's going to change things are the Azmerian Wisps, because they're going to start very early. Listen closely to what they have to say.
We're adding Azmerian Whisps, which can be found throughout both the campaign and the endgame. You will first encounter a manifestation of it in the Grellwood in Act 1.
Grellwood, Act 1. So that's how soon it's going to start. We're going to kill Beira, we're going to get down the Devourer, and then Azmerian Wisps begin to appear throughout your whole campaign playthrough. But what do Azmerian Whisps now do?
As you approach the wisp, it will flee, leading you past monsters. Any monsters it comes into contact with are infused by it, making them more powerful. Each spirit is associated with a specific revered animal within Azmeri culture. This one is a wisp of the Great Bear, and grants enemies extra life and stun. The wisp moves faster the closer you are, and as you move away, they slow down to wait for you.
That's
But
nice
if you
of
get
them.
too far away for too long, they'll dissipate and return to the woods. As you continue to chase the wisp, it will find and possess a rare or unique monster, granting it a new...
There you can see armored bear touched minion, and this rare did get now bear touched as well.
Because this was a wisp of the Great Bear, this monster now also has increased life and stun. But on top of that, it will periodically summon a large spectral bear.
Large spectral bear who's slamming down might be annoying during the campaign, depending on the one or the other class in the beginning, that you have to go for melee range, for example, and there's always that bear around who's going to hit you. But as I said, it's going to make the playthrough different and more interesting, especially with the rewards we're getting. This is the type of reward you get for hunting the wisp down. For example, a boar talisman. It says place into an empty rune socket in a martial weapon or armor to apply its effect to that item. Gloves gain 1 range on melee hit. Huh, that's incredible. If I could get this one early, I can remove the rage gem from my monk or from my warrior playstyle to just add different damage. Or body armor, corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you. Not too exciting. Boots, hits against you have 10% reduced critical damage bonus. They can be defensive, offensive, or help you with status effects. Those are only 3 examples. And again, the more you hunt the wisp, the more enemies you kill, the more bountiful the rewards will be, the better these things. Those are just 3 examples. There's probably tens of different, 20s of different of these runes coming that you can then use during the campaign already. The Azmerian Wisps also carry over into the endgame because we get new Atlas Tree branches and more Atlas Tree points to boost our Azmerian Wisps as well. For example, in your maps, have 50% increased area of effect, the spirits, and slain wisp-infused monsters in your maps empower Azmeri spirits 25% faster. On top of these Atlas changes for the wisps, cursor tablets can also say your maps have a 14% chance to contain an Azmeri spirit. Choose maps harder to get this, to have more of the new crafting materials. Upgrade your items more meaningful. All the things mentioned are the changes for everyone. But there are 3 more specific things, and that would be new Ascendancy classes for the Warrior, Mercenary, and the Necromancer. The Mercenary is going to get the Tactician. With already 2 points in your Ascendancy, first Ascension, you would get the skill Supporting Fire. It says, summon a hidden artillery squad trailing you that can fire volleys of arrows on command. The artillery squad counts as your minions, and minions from this skill have 1% increased AC rating per 3 dex, and minions from this skill have 1% increased damage per 3 of your strength. Might be that you can do an absolute mental supporting fire overload. Then in the bottom right, we could also buff totems to do more damage and act faster, and minions to generally do more damage with the supporting fire. So could we make a full minion build? Because if they count as your minions and we boost minion damage in general, is that going to boost supporting fire? Because it says minion skill and they count as minions. Alternative, you can have allies in your presence get stronger, and allies in your presence that would also be your minions. Seems like the Tactician is going to be like full ballista artillery, full minion playstyle, putting banners down. Yes, you can put multiple banners down as well. Complete new way to play, or a different way to play at least, for the Merc. Then we get the Smith of Kitava for the Warrior. You can manifest a weapon that floats behind you. So the current weapon you're holding is just behind you. Get a Cultist Hammer that does a big area of effect, 2 Cultist Hammer. You can temper your weapon, pull out an ambush, bomb, 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 hit it, and now every hit does a fire explosion. Cool. And you can learn the skill Heat of the Forge, where you do fire spell on hit. Congratulations. Main interesting part will be Smith Masterwork. Can only use normal body armor, white body armor. This passive skill is free to allocate, and you can then use your points to build your armor. Body armor grants armor also applied to case damage taken from hits. Body armor grants 100% increased stun threshold. Body armor gets 75 cold fire resistance, 15% more life, 20% increased strength. And you can take multiple of these, as I understand. It's like a build a bear, only that your bear is like a rabid, grizzly, cocaine monster that's going to slay everything and hit people with fire like crazy. I definitely want to experiment around with this, as the other warrior ascendancies often feel like just taking it for bonus strength. The Titan, so you can dual wield. Well, I could do this now too, with the Smith of Kitava. Lastly, we have the Lich Ascendancy, which can increase your maximum energy shield by another 20%. You can put a jewel in here, and that jewel would turn into your Philic tree. Can socket a non-unique basic jewel, 100% increased effect of socketed jewels, 50% more mana cost if you have no energy shield. Okay, but 100% effect of socketed jewels, great. You can make a super jewel that you're pretty much putting in there. And the main plan here is use the one right behind me. It says you can apply an additional curse, and your curses can affect hex-proof enemies. Then you and your allies in your presence, minions, have Unholy Might. While you're not on low mana, lose 5% mana per second. Would need a lot of mana regeneration to make this work, but then everyone will always have Unholy Might. And you can increase the magnitude of Unholy Might buffs on your lats too. An actual minion ascendancy that can use curses to do curse stuff, or going for a full curse build, rather going for more chaos damage. And let's not forget that we have the Ritualist and the Amazon ascendancy for the Huntress. 5 new reasons to have a complete new playthrough. Don't worry, links to these are in the description below. Good. That was now Act 1 to Act 3 Cruel. But what changes in the end game? Let's first look at the tower changes, because no one really likes towers currently. Yes.
The first change we've made here is that we have reduced the number of towers drastically. So there are now 1/3 as many as before.
Let's compare this. There's 2 towers this close to each other. And right now, these are the towers sticking at each other butts, and you feel like, do tower, do tower, do tower. And you like these 3 maps you just simply don't enjoy. You're just blasting through them.
To start with, tablets now inherently add twice as many mechanics.
14 maps in range contain breaches. Cool. That's obviously needed, as you have 1/3 less towers, so you need more, but that's not it. Wait for it.
But that's not all. Running higher tier maps and towers now increases the number of mechanics applied by tablets. By tier 15, the bonus is double, allowing a single tablet to now add 4 times as many mechanics as before.
Instead of applying 14 maps with breaches, it's 28 maps in range contain breaches. Finally, a region to actually finish towers with a higher difficulty and not just put in a tier 1 map.
Running far fewer towers, dealing with fewer tablets, and affecting even more maps than before. But because there are fewer towers overlapping with each other, you won't get as many opportunities to stack different tablets. In order to solve this, we've made it so that each tower can consume up to 3 tablets at once.
Hello? That's the picture here. We're going to have a tower, and it's going to have a triple tablet in that is then 100% boosted. So we get 32 maps have breaches, 28 maps have expedition, and 22 maps have bosses. And that can obviously overlap. So it's not going to algorithm, this map is getting a breach, but then it can't get a boss. No, like all 3 could just go. So now with a Build-A-Bear workshop, you can build a monstrous bear with the towers. I do like the change. It at least encourages me to play the towers with a higher difficulty map instead of just putting a tier 1 in and blasting through. I'm going to put a tier 15 in and, make it a meaningful tower, make it a meaningful event on my journey. A smaller change would be unique strongboxes, which does make the modifier on maps that says contains more strongboxes better. We get Ogham's Legacy. We got Exiles Torment. These are unique strong boxes that do crazy stuff and give crazy rewards. And there's 2 more that we haven't seen much about. It's a little something that just maybe makes discovering maps more exciting. What I do personally find interesting is Rogue Exiles.
On your travels, you will sometimes encounter Rogue Exiles.
There you go.
Others like you who have been exiled and are openly hostile. Some are malicious, some are mad, while others are simply fiends for loot.
A real
They will challenge you, a
PvP
fight to the
combat.
death. They use the same skills available to players, and even the same items. They aren't just dressed up in those items, they're actually using them. It's going to feel like a true player versus player situation.
You can see it up here. Has Demon Stitcher equipped, has Bushwhack equipped. Oh, and if you kill this guy, well, Demon Stitcher and Bushwhack dropping for you. Ta-da. I love this. That's great. And they can appear on any map at any given point. And that brings us to an interesting change because these fights are going to be hard. But you won't actually lose if you die. You can finally respawn in maps. It's not instantly over. This is more to ease you into maps, and later in tier 15 it's still only 1 attempt. But this is a Waystone tier 6 in blue, magic. Number of portals is 5. Then we have a Waystone rare, also tier 6. Number of portals is 3. And later, the more modifiers it has, the less portal it gets. Maybe you can get 2 attempts on a tier 15 if you use a magic tier 15. They didn't show it this way. They said the rarer you make them, the more modifiers you add, the less portals you have. There's another intriguing change to this though, because if you're now in a boss fight and you would die, they apply the same mechanic as for the Arbiter of Ash. Doesn't matter if it's tier 15 map or later on. You get 6 attempts to kill that boss. That's at least how it sounded. So if you play a map with a boss on it, and you get to the boss and you die, then you will get this 5 attempts remaining, and you can try again. So it's not Joe ever instantly, which means that you'll never run out of maps, I guess. Because very often that was the case. You choose to do a higher tier map, you attempted it, you tried, you died at the boss or something unlucky, and now you at least get 1 more or a second attempt or 6 at the boss at least. Great. Love it. There are also 7 new endgame maps coming, all doing different things. One of them, the Azmerian Megalith, being a boss rush where you can fight 10 bosses in a row. The Silent Cave is being an Ascend super boss, and 5 more maps they haven't even shown us. Lastly, they changed the way how corruption on the map works. Right now, these are just random splotches of corruption, and they simply modify a map and make it somewhat harder. Now, these splotches of corruption have a nexus that you have to clear out, and clearing these nexuses is what gives you your Atlas points. The quest is going to change from do 10, 15 tier 1 maps, 12 tier 2, and so on, to clear these nexuses. So you can straight up fast track to them, to clear them out, to get as many nexus points as possible, to then juice everything in existence. They also made the corruption multipliers more interesting to have the whole corruption thing matter more. This would also lead to new crafting materials to lock in stats, but it's not fundamentally overworking the crafting system. It's just adding something. We still do need the crafting system to get better. There also was an interview later on where they talked about the nerfs and the buffs, and heralds are definitely going to get hit, while weaker stuff is going to get stronger, that we then be able to use the new support gems to make new builds. On these details, we're waiting for the patch notes. This is This is how the game is pretty much going to change. There's some more skills coming, some other stuff, but that is the bread and the butter. This is what Path of Exile, Dawn of the Hunt is offering you. Is that enough to make you play again? Or would you rather need more information on the Hunters? Because I have it. Enjoy, watch, check it out. Thank you.